Hi everyone, I'm so happy that you have found this way to this sensual cacao ceremony. The first sensual cacao ceremony I'm holding and also the first one online. So I am super excited for this. We are going to keep this quite short here because I feel like I'm just going to give you the introduction and some of the information. And a lot of the ceremony by itself, I actually think it's more valuable if you are doing it by yourself in silence, just with music in your own space. So therefore, this is just a tiny bit of information and giving you like the impulse and everything else. Trust that you know and can do it by yourself, which I think is very important. We will start where I will give you some information on cacao, like why are we actually working with cacao, and some information about sensuality, and obviously also how these two are linked together, because I think that is why we're here, right? And then we will go into a brief meditation, just a very short meditation, just so that we can align ourselves to the plant. So it's really important that you already have your cacao ready when you do that part so we can hold it. And from there, we're going to honor the plant because that's always a crucial part. In when we're working with it, we're going to put an intention into our cup and then we're going to drink it together. And from there, I'm going to guide you a tiny bit into a sensual meditation just so you can open yourself up towards, and you can open yourself and your body up towards this being a possibility. You see already for me the space I've created quite a lot of in sensual textures to it. We have something that you can't do. I in this lamp over there, I have like essential oil in it, so it already smells quite nice in this room. I have a cacao right next to me, so I can also smell that. We have these beautiful, beautiful lights. I have candles. I have stones here, beautiful, gorgeous ones. So, and actually, it's also a super nice texture to touch. So you see. I already have prepared my space, and I think that's also really important in general. Yes, and from this meditation, I will actually just stop the recording of Zoom, which means you will just be kind of kicked out. And from there, just see it as this possibility to go on into your own space. You can put on any music you want. I would also invite you to take the rest of the evening off if you can, and maybe even directly go into sleep after this, because that will be so beneficial for your sleep state and for just for your being. I can give you a few suggestions what you can do then, but more to that later. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to put them in the comment box. If you're watching this as a replay, feel free to just write me your questions personally to my email address, which I will link, or send it as a comment as well, and I will answer you this. Yes, beautiful. Actually, I will start with a short meditation already now because I think with most of us have had quite busy days, so it is really important that we all land in the same space together. So wherever you are, make yourself comfortable. So before you actually close your eyes, just see how can you make it even more comfortable for you to sit right now, or maybe you also want to lie down. But like I said, it's just going to be a short meditation. Once you have found that spot, I invite you to just have a small look around your room, just to become aware of everything that you see. And then you can gently close your eyes and start taking a few deep inhales. Let's really feel these deep inhales you take into your lower belly, kind of finding this groundedness within you, this calmness within you. And taking a moment to notice how do you feel right now and how does your body feel in this moment? Maybe bringing some gentle movement to your body, rolling your shoulders, stretching, swaying, whatever makes you land a tiny bit more. And then you slowly can come back to the space and open your eyes. Welcome back. Beautiful. So I will start giving you some information around cacao first. The cacao that I'm working with and that I'm also drinking tonight is Cacao Guardians. It's from Guatemala. Um, it's a very gentle and soft cacao, but at the same way also powerful enough that you have beautiful experiences. Um, in gentle in a way where I've been drinking and trying a lot of cacaos from Central America or South America, and they always have this really intense kick, which I'm like, it doesn't actually feel that nice for me. Often, sometimes I feel a little bit high and super agitated and on like my nervous system feels on fire with this one. This one is much calmer. And it's like a high quality cacao, which means it doesn't have heavy metals in it. So it's a cacao that we really can drink daily, and also it's good. It's safe enough for children to drink. Obviously, you would change the dosage there. So the reason why I'm working with cacao in regards to sensuality and also just by myself is because I've been going to a lot of cacao ceremonies years ago, and I was mesmerized and surprised and I loved it. And then I started happening a few years into it that I started noticing this anger that came up when I was sitting in these spaces. And at the same time, I started this whole journey where I learned how to communicate with plants. And I realized that for me, it's actually quite easy to connect with certain plants. And then I realized that I'm actually not angry for my own reasons, but I'm angry because I can feel the anger of cacao. And that often happens because in a lot of spaces, people don't honor the plants. The plants do like that they receive something back from us. So either we have such a gratitude and we have such a devotion and we really speak from the plant's deeper desire and wisdom, so we are in direct like line with the plant, or we are just thinking that we have an idea what is needed and we just do whatever we think we want to do and we push some agenda through because we have seen someone else is doing that. Because working with plants is really important that we are learning how does the plant want to work with me and through me, because all plants have different aspects and everyone can work differently with them, which I think is really beautiful. It's usually connected to our own innate frequency and energy and our style of working. So this is really important to learn how does a plant want to work through you, and that means a lot of connection with it. I'm going into deep um, this excursions here, but that's just what I started feeling. And then she told me she wants to work with me, but I was like, oh man, I'm not going to jump on that train as well and be a cacao, offer cacao ceremonies like everyone else is doing. I did not want that. But at one point in my life, and that was definitely a year ago, I could not deny that voice any longer because my womb told me to go to Guatemala so I can connect deeper with cacao. So I'm like, okay, that is quite a big calling. I gotta do it. I went to a cacao plantation there where everyone else was listening to the information they were giving and just asking 5 million questions. I left the group and I just sat underneath a cacao plant and I felt so many emotions. It was kind of like a journey for me. I did not know what was going on. I felt sad, I felt angry, and everything in between. And then I understood that a lot of the messages Cacao wanted to um, put into the world through me, she just gave me it through my own eyes and images so I could understand. This is actually often how plants or even the spirit realm connects and works with us. They give us images that we can relate to. So it doesn't always need to mean exactly what we're seeing, but it's like we can learn from it and take it apart. So she taught me about the balance and the harmony that is going on in this world, or like rather the disbalance that is happening in a way of masculine and feminine energies. And if I'm talking about masculine and feminine energies, for me, this is just two energies, knowing that there is many more energies out there and there is links in between, but still there is often two forces happening in this world, and that there is a disbalance between both of them and that she desires to bring them together because together is how we function. Therefore, I started working with her through me way more. I started drinking her daily. I started learning much more. I started listening to her messages more. And here we are now, a year later, and I start speaking her message more into this world because I think that is really important. So, cacao, spoken a lot. And now we go to the effects she has on our body. Cacao directly works with our heart. Therefore, it's actually really important that we drink cacao as less sweetened as possible. I actually never put sugar in it. I use oat milk, so that by itself sometimes has a bit of a sweetness. I also often drink cacao just with water because the bitterness when we drink that, obviously, we taste that on our tongue. That gives the body a signal that something is coming. And then through this, our digestive system starts working in a different way. And only through this information and this signal, it gives the information to the heart that it should open up its blood vessels and more blood starts pumping. In this way, that opens up the heart in a physical way, which actually also happens in an energetical way. The heart opens up. So that means we are more connected to the emotions, our emotional body, because it works in the heart, but also on our sacral chakra, if you're familiar with the chakras. And through that, we can get more in flow with ourselves. What I find really interesting is, or not interesting, it's actually very clear for me, is that cacao also works very much on grounding ourselves. And I would say that's actually the most important factor of cacao that often gets forgotten in many spaces. That her innate desire is to bring us back to nature, to connect us back to nature, so that we can put our roots in the soil and we once more realize that we have been home all along and directly connected to the with our umbilical cord to the womb of the earth. Yes, so for anyone that sounds strange, that's the first time you're hearing about it, that's okay. Just take it or leave it. But that is a deep, deep desire she has. So with this groundedness, what happens is you can really imagine that a lot of the weight, we're carrying a lot of other weight in our head. The weight can drop into our body and through our body into the earth. So what happens is our nervous system starts calming down. We start calming down. That makes us being able to breathe deeper, right? We can take bigger inhales. This makes us also feel way more connected to our body because often we need slowness, we need groundedness, we need bigger breaths and inhales to be actually really connected to our body and feel it. So through to this, making us feel more through the emotions, through the groundedness. It's a perfect plant to work with our sensuality because that's basically the basic needs or the basic structures that are needed for us to open ourselves up more to sensuality and develop it more. So therefore, that's already plenty of reasons why I'm working with cacao. I am a fan of intuitively taking the dosage that I need. You say between 30 to 40 grams is like a really high dosage. That's ceremonial. I'm usually working with 15 to 20 and it's enough. So feel free to experiment with yourself. But also, mostly, I don't actually weigh how much cacao I'm drinking. I think that's also important. Yeah, I'm curious if anyone has any questions regarding cacao. And obviously, I could speak much more about her. I would say, energy-wise, she is connected to the earth and to the water. And in some circumstances, when people are working with her to activate us, the fire energy can also come in. I have experienced that. And I've also experienced the air energy coming in, especially when you're activating, like she can activate the mind quite well. So I think for me, that's my personal take on. Please feel free to check for yourself. For me, it actually combines the elements, which a lot of the plants follow one element. For me, cacao follows many elements. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So if no questions is here, I would like to go on to sensuality and tell you a little bit about that. So if we talk about sensuality, the main and the most important factor about this is our senses. So we have our eyes, we have our ears, we have our nose, the smell, we have our tongue, the taste, and we have our skin, the feeling and the touch. So those are our five senses. I think I got it right. So a main factor of sensuality are the senses. And I think we live in such a hustle world. Everything is like moving so fast that we often forget about tuning in with our senses. And tuning in with our senses for me also means tuning in within myself and feeling myself in the moment. So really important factors for that are slowing down, which is through taking a big inhale. I'm also always a fan to say the second exercise is to make a cup of tea, sit in front of the window and drink the whole cup of tea without doing anything else than just staring out the window, looking at all the colors that are there and tasting the tea every single sip that you're taking. It's a super simple sensuality exercise that will teach you so much. Because if you start doing that, imagine if that becomes your daily habit, as in it becomes your life. Like every single thing you're doing, you feel it to the max. This is really pleasurable. And I always say, like, why would we live pleasure only in a bedroom if we can actually live it in every single moment of our life? Right? So imagine if you're starting to practice in these little moments, then it becomes much easier in everything else. Like, how can I find sensuality in even the moments that can be tensionous and struggle? How can I find pleasure in that? For me, those two words, by the way, are often very much intertwined because sensuality and the senses are giving me so much pleasure. Yeah. So the reason why I have been focusing so much about with the Sensual Advents Calendar, and yes, this is part of the 25-day Sensual Advents Calendar, is because I think it's something actually really, really simple that we have started to overcomplicate and started making it into something very far and only being taught in courses or only being present in the bedroom. Whereas I'm like, no, it's something as simple as just breathing. We just need to relearn it as a society, as human beings, so that it can become part of our life. I mean, if you just take a moment and imagine how would you feel when you are fully in touch with your body? That means you feel your body, you feel one with your body, you feel in love with your body, you feel all the different like muscles, veins, bones, and you're walking down the street. And you're moving in this way. You're moving in this slow and soft way of like, I'm at home in my body and I'm happy. Like the whole bloody world will look at you in a different way. And I think there is nothing more inspiring. I've recently actually wrote a post where I said sensuality, in my opinion, could be a revolution, like a revolution of sensuality. Like people start becoming more sensual, more in touch with themselves, which would lead to so much more groundedness, pleasure, happiness, joy, aliveness, that I feel like the world would just start changing like that in this woof, woof, beautiful, beautiful, soft way. And for me, that's like no better image than that. And I think I'll also just keep it here because I could continue talking all the time, but then it's like you got a whole 25 days of information about sensuality. And I'm a fan of like, what about if you tell me at the end of this 25 days what sensuality is instead of me telling you what it is? Yeah, so let's close our eyes for a second and take 3 deep breaths. And I also would like to ask you if you have any questions there, but knowing that you don't need to have all the answers to where you already get somewhere. Beautiful. So let's all take our cups of cacao, and I hope you've all prepared it. And I just want to inform you there that if you ever do desire cacao and you are interested in the one that I'm having, I also can provide it for you. So you can just contact me because I think it's important that we all have access to high quality cacao. So you can just start taking your cup and place it in front of your heart or heart space in a way where you can actually look at it. And when you inhale, you smell the cacao. And just take a moment, fully in your own space, to just connect with the cacao in this way. If you want to, you can close your eyes or look at it a little bit more. And you notice again here that you are connecting with the plant through your senses. And then you can imagine that from your heart there is a tiny light going out directly to the cacao. And you can just visualize that. So there's a direct connection between your heart and the cacao happening. You take a few deep inhales and exhales. And this is really something that in your own time and space, you can prolong it even longer. But for the sake of this, keeping it short here, so it's just kind of a tiny introduction, we are going to move on to the part where you can speak your intention into the cacao. So the reason why we do that is that water carries our messages. Like you can really, there is plenty of experiments out there that show that water can carry the energy of our words. So you speak whatever you desire into the cacao, knowing that it will help you transform whatever that is. And then you can speak your words of gratitude or show your gratitude in form of a symbol or a gesture. Then feel free to drink your cacao in your own time and space. I'm sorry for everyone who's watching the recording. The recording here broke off. So please feel free to pause the video here for like 5 minutes while you are drinking the cacao, because I will continue with the rest. So when you're finished, you can put the cup down and you can start lying down wherever you feel comfortable, or you can make this or sit up if that is more your preference. And take this moment to build yourself a little nest, a nest where you can drop inwards and connect a little bit deeper with yourself. And whenever you're ready, you can just close your eyes once more. And start taking a few deep breaths. Really, really feeling yourself dropping inwards a little bit more. Feeling yourself drop down into the earth. You can just imagine wherever you lie on, that's your direct connection to the earth. And on every exhale, you just feel a little bit more that you're connecting with the ground beneath you. Really feeling this connection, and on every exhale, dropping a little bit lower. Letting go, surrender to the moment, surrender to the cacao flowing in your veins. And then start noticing, how do you feel in this moment? Like maybe what is alive within you? What is sparkling? What can you feel on your skin as well as underneath you? And can you maybe even feel an expansion happening in your chest just because you are tuning in with whatever is alive at the moment? Can you maybe feel the heat or the cold? And then slowly and gently start moving your fingers. Like just like that in the air, and just feeling every tiny little movement as if it's your first time moving your hands. Your first time feeling the movement happening. Maybe even start moving your whole arm or just the lower part of your arm. And also here, bringing awareness to how every single moment feels, how your body feels. And then very softly and gently bring your hands towards each other and start feeling the skin. Just with this tiniest, the most gentle touch. Feel, how does it feel to touch yourself? Feel, how does it feel to be touched by yourself? Just invite this slowness, gentleness, and softness. And all of this you will basically to just be keep on doing in your own time and space. So feel free when I finish this video to put on some music, some of your favorite song, maybe a playlist that will play for half an hour or longer, and just start continuing to feel yourself, to hear the sound, maybe opening your eyes and look around your room. And now you might be understand why I have chosen these beautiful lights behind me. Maybe you're taking another sip of the cacao and feel the taste. Maybe there's something nearby that you can smell. And you just continue this own journey with yourself, with no one else present, and just see every single moment. What is your desire? And how does it feel? And how can you make it even more better for you? Really staying in this thing of exploration. And I wish you so much fun. And please feel free to connect with me and tell me how that was. Enjoy it.